Hello everyone, Hare Krishna. Today, today I'm going to talk about Krishna's teaching to us. Krishna. Uh, Obviously, in so many videos we have discussed about the soul and matter, and today's topic will be continuing uh, the subject matter, soul and matter, and we have seen in previous videos that the differences between soul and body, but today particularly we are going to see very closely the way Lord Krishna is trying to convince his most beautiful devotee, most exalted devotee, and his best friend Arjuna. So please stay with me. So, how a child gets annoyed from his mother, and how mother tries to impress his child by giving so many colorful things, by giving so many delicious food, by taking him or her many good places to impress or to convince or to settle down the misunderstanding which has been taken place between them, or she tries to dissipate the misunderstanding which has taken place between them. So try to just imagine how the beautiful moment or how the beautiful scene actually between mother and child, when child gets annoyed from her or his mother. Similarly, you can see the same scene here between Lord Krishna and Arjuna. Arjuna is still not convinced. He is not being convinced still by Krishna's teaching. And here Krishna is trying a lot to convince him. And Arjuna is playing, he is playing like a normal child, a normal, you can say normal, common man like, right? A common man. Lord Krishna is convincing him. But here Arjuna is very overwhelmed and emotional, and he is illusioned by Maya, by the nature, by the character of the nature. What is actually the nature? What is the character of the nature? So, what is the nature? First, we have to understand that the qualities of the nature. There are three qualities, or there are three guna, right? Goodness, passion, and ignorance. So we are surrounded by maximum time passion and ignorance. When the person is on the state of ignorance, then that person is called Tama. When the person is surrounded by the quality of passion, then the person is called Raja and Sataguna. Sataguna, when the person is surrounded by goodness. So when the person is, on the state of goodness, then it's really very, 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 very easy to understand Krishna's teaching. But when the person is surrounded by the passion or ignorance, then it's really tough to accept or to understand the teaching of Shastra or teaching of Lord Krishna, teaching of gurus. So this is the basic nature or basic, the qualities of the nature. So we have to very clearly we have to understand, and very clearly we have to differentiate between three qualities: Sattva, Raja, and Tama. Arjun was bewildered very much. Krishna is telling, you should fight. And Arjun is telling, no, they are my own relatives, my guru. Krishna, told so many slokas Also, he has told that Krishna says that soul is like a man. How? How man puts on his new garments after discarding his worn out clothes. Also, he casts off his old body and transmigrate into another body that are new. He told very clearly. Soul, how like a man puts on his new garment after discarding his worn out clothes and transmigrates into another. Adopts a new body, like how we adopt a new clothes after discarding our worn out clothes. So that most wonderful example also we have seen in Bhagavad Gita. Soul rejects the bodies which have been ravaged by disease, by old age. Similarly, how we actually adopt new clothes after discarding worn out clothes. Krishna is saying the soul rejects the body which have been ravaged by the old age, by the disease. You please try to understand, Arjun. What is there for lamentation? What is there for lament? Why are you braving for the body? I am telling you, I am teaching you, I am telling you that soul is eternal. Then why? What is the reason for lamentation? Stop your lamenting. Krishna is telling that weapon cannot clave him, or the fire cannot singe him, or neither be drenched him, nor withered by wind. Soul is like this. You cannot clave, or you cannot singe, you cannot burn, you cannot, it cannot be drenched. So soul's quality Krishna is telling. And Arjun, you are lamenting, which is eternal, everlasting. Arjun still not been convinced here. So still Krishna is continuing his teaching. So here one beautiful sloka I must recite. I know you will like. Nainam chidanti shastrani, nainam dahati pavakaha, nainam kledayantapo, na chainam kledayantapo, na shoshayati marutaha. So, you cannot burn, you cannot, you cannot. We have seen here ki Arjuna pronounced here that his family to be eternal. He thinks that war will destroy the Sanatan Dharma. The Arjun, it's his mental ability, or it is his thinking style that his family traditions to be eternal. It's like how we think. It's a normal human. Arjuna is actually playing a role over here. But Lord Krishna, what he's telling that you have to fight against your relatives and friends, but that is for dharma. For the higher purpose, you are going to fight with them. So, Sanatan Dharma will not be disturbed. Oh, Arjun, please try to understand. How, like a friend, Krishna is trying to convince his friend. Sometimes like a teacher is trying to convince to his student. So you can see two good relationship here, teacher, student and friends. So also you'll come to know what is the importance, what is the important role when you are very good friends of somebody, what should be your important role? What should be your duties? So from this sloka and from this Bhagavad Gita, we can clearly understand the importance of the relationship. Let it be, it can be like God and devotee, it can be like friends, it can be like husband, wife, it can be like sister, brother, or it can be like, two people who loves each other. So, but we can learn something special from this sloka. Here Lord Krishna is telling that if we do not know the means by which we can understand or realize, the self and his goal, then we have no inkling of Sanatana Dharma, right? So basically Krishna is trying to say that if you don't know who are you, then, and no realization about who are you, then simply our life is useless. So please try that Arjun is telling that if I kill them, it will destroy our dharma. Sanatana Dharma will be destroyed, will be disturbed. But we are so, sometimes we are so, befogged by our silly custom that we have lost the capacity to realize or to understand that food and touch cannot destroy our Sanatana Dharma. So if we know that we are soul and soul is eternal, then your goal is perfect. So we are actually God creations. Whatever we can see in this, so we are actually living entity, are God's creation, a beautiful creation. So Lord Krishna is telling that soul is eternal and the body is perishable. We are living on earth and water, on fire, on air, Panchabhuta, which is called. So after death, all 5 elements will be dissolved here on this earth, and only Atma will travel to the universe. So, O Arjun, please try to understand. Now you please ready to fight. Be ready to fight. But still Arjun is not convinced. He is not being convinced. Now next sloka is most beautiful. Please try to listen. Beautiful sloka. Avyaktoyam achintoyam. Avyaktoyam achintoyam. Avikariyam avikaryoyam uchyate. Tasmat eva viditvaina nanu sochitum arahasi. What is trying to say? Lord Krishna is trying to say avyakta. Soul is avyakt. Soul is invisible. Avyakt. Achintya. Achintyoyam. Achintyo matlab what is called? What do you mean by that? Achintyo. Inconceivable. Avyaktoyam achintoyam avikaryoyam. Cannot be changed. Uchyate. Lord is telling the soul position. Tasmad evam viditvaina. Therefore, tasmad evam viditvaina, you should know, nanu sochitum arhasi. You should not grave for the body. When soul is avyakt and achinta, it's inconceivable and it is invisible, then you are lamenting for this soul, for this body. So please try to understand. Krishna still not being convinced. Then what Krishna is trying to say, just say. So stated in Gita that there. So in Bhagavad Gita, it is stated a very good example is given that there is no proper source of understanding the identity of the father except the higher authority of the mother. Similarly, there is no proper source to understand the soul except the study of Veda or study of Bhagavad Gita. So Bhagavad Gita and Ved, Upanishad, it's the right source to understand our real position. How a mother is a higher authority to tell that he is her, child's father. The identity of the father only a mother can say. So a very good example you can see. Next sloka. So Krishna is continuing his teaching. Still, Arjun though is acting, or he is playing a role like a child, like a common man. And Krishna is continuing his teaching very seriously. Sometimes what happened, even when we try to convince to the next person, to somebody, to husband, to wife, to children, to students, to friends, over period of time, we feel exhausted and tired when the person is not been convinced. But here the picture is entirely opposite. Here, Krishna is not at all tired or exhausted. He is not feeling kind of tired and exhausted. He is teaching he is teaching with great zeal, with great interest still to Arjun. Why? Because Arjun is a great devotee. Arjun is a very good friend. So again we can see clearly the importance of the relationship. Yes. Krishna is telling Atha chainam nityajatam nityam vamanyase mritam tathapi tam mahabaho nanushochitum arhasi. Krishna is telling that if however you think that soul will always be born and die forever, but still Arjun, there is no reason for lament. You don't lament, you don't grave. What is the reason for grieving? If the next person is not been convinced, then what is said? Okay, chalo, get lost. But here Lord Krishna is not like that. Krishna is telling to Arjun, oh mighty armed, please try to understand. Then however you think, the soul will die, or soul will. He's trying to say through this sloka that jatyasya hi dhruvam mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha. One who has taken birth is surely to die. One who has taken birth is surely to die. And after death is sure to take birth again. And it is unavoidable situation. You are craving for the situation. It's a cycle of birth and death. It's unavoidable situation. So one takes birth according to his or her karma, her activity. Whatever activities we do, based on that we take birth. So what is there for lament? Why you are grieving? Please stop. Now though you have to listen to me. But Arjun, no, still not. Then next, which sloka Krishna is trying to tell? Let's see. So now Krishna is telling that abhyaktadini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata abhyakta nidhananneva tatra kapari devana. Krishna is telling to Arjun that you are lamenting, but now listen. Now listen that the all created beings are unmanifest in their beginning. All created beings are unmanifest after annihilated. Between appears to possess a body between two events. Between birth and death. This is two events. So here soul appears and takes body, and the cycle goes on and on and on and on. Based on our karma, we take birth based on our karma. So Krishna is trying to convince like this way, a very beautiful way actually. Krishna is trying to convince, but still Arjun is not been convinced. That is the most important part. So what is actually conclusions over here? Soul, the subject matter is, it's not easy to understand. We have learned many things, that so we know the differences, and we know the Krishna's teaching, how the way Krishna is trying to convince to Arjun. But here only conclusion is that only the seer, the Paigambar, the messenger only can, seer views are amazing. Seer views view the soul as marvel, very amazing. Soul is very marvel. Here we can see that Arjun is, it's not able to understand about himself, about the soul, about the self. Though Lord Krishna is trying, is teaching properly in a responsible manner, he is Lord. But Arjun needs time to understand. Arjun needs time to understand that about the self, and Krishna's teaching. So definitely, we also need time to understand. We also need time to understand the Krishna's teaching, understand the messages of Bhagavad Gita. It's not that one day, it is not, it is how Arjun needs sometimes to think, to understand about self, about himself, about Lord's teaching. Similarly, we need sometimes to understand the messages, all the messages of Bhagavad Gita. That's why we need to find a spiritual master, or you can hear from some, exalted devotee, or from right source. But it's most important to add in your list. What you have to add in your list? To read Bhagavad Gita. So keep Bhagavad Gita in center and see the magic. All the lovely messages, if you read, you will come to know about who you are. What about the soul? There are so many questions you have. All the questions, answers are there in Bhagavad Gita. So please start reading Bhagavad Gita. Till then, Hare Krishna. See you next video.